Hi, I'm Alex, welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. So in today's video we're going to be talking about SBE and Chargepoint, and we've discussed them many times on the channel before, and the links to those videos are in the description below if you haven't seen them already. In today's video we're going to be addressing three main myths, three main things that I see everyone saying about this company online which just aren't true, and we're going to discuss those in more detail during this video. If you're new to the channel and like investor related content, then smash that subscribe button. If you like these sort of videos, then please smash the like button. It's so helpful in pushing the channel to a wider audience. I'm not a financial advisor, this video is purely for educational and entertainment purposes only, but let's get straight into it. Now the first thing is its valuation. Everyone seems to be saying that Chargepoint is overvalued. Now taking a step back, at the time of filming its enterprise value is around $9.5 billion. Now yes, that is obviously a large amount of money. However, valuation is all relative. So to understand whether SBE and Chargepoint really is overvalued, we need to look at it relative to other players. Now a lot of people are currently comparing this to other players in the EV sector, which actually isn't a good comparison. It's not apples and apples. Ideally you want to be comparing it to another company that does the same thing that's also trading. Now we'll come on to that in a second. When comparing it to other EV players however, Chargepoint still is trading at a discount on an EV sales basis to many of those players. Now what's also really important here is taking a step back and looking at the business model. What excites me about Chargepoint is the resilience it has and the visibility it has over its earnings. We know that Chargepoint customers are on long-term contracts with them. That gives you good visibility and good certainty over those earnings. Now if you take two companies that did exactly the same thing, the company which had that degree of visibility and that degree of resilience should be valued at higher valuation than the company which doesn't have that. So when you're thinking about comparing Chargepoint to other EV players, you need to think about that. There's no contractual guarantee that certain EV manufacturers will sell a certain number of cars in any year. Additionally, the services that Chargepoint provides are mission critical. You need to carry on using them if you have an EV. On the other hand, you don't have to buy a new electric vehicle if you already have a working vehicle. So ultimately, if you do want to compare Chargepoint to those EV players, you do need to accept that there will be a premium rating in the multiple that Chargepoint should trade at versus those companies. So now, if we want to do a complete like-for-like analysis, we should be comparing Chargepoint to Blink, which is also traded and also does EV charging. At this point in time, Blink is smaller than Chargepoint and it's not a SPAC. However, if the same enterprise value sales multiple that Blink is currently trading at was applied to Chargepoint, the share price would be much closer to that of $60 to $70. Now, if you know this channel, you know whenever I make a comment like this, I always back it up with some analysis. However, given this video is just touching on it, I'm uploading another video in the coming days where I'll go into that full analysis. I'll cover my detailed analysis I've done and share all that with you so you understand what the assumptions I've made are and the maths I've done to get to those numbers. Now obviously, all these valuations are completely dependent upon delivering the growth that these companies are forecast to do so. That's ultimately why we're not looking at EV EBITDA multiples. All the money the company is generating should be going into driving more growth going forward. Once the company's delivered on its strategy and is the market leader and the market growth has slowed down, it can then focus on generating profit and investing less in future growth. However, right now, the valuation is solely dependent upon delivering that growth. What's more, given the outcome of the US election now, and given what we touched on in a previous video on Chargepoint, there's now an even greater opportunity for Chargepoint given Biden's focus on EV charging infrastructure. You should definitely check that video out if you're interested in the details. However, the takeaways are that that could amount to, conservatively, $1 billion of incremental revenue for Chargepoint over the period. Assuming a really conservative forward sales multiple of say 3 times, that means that the business could be worth an incremental $3 billion on what it currently is as well. So in conclusion on this point, yes, it does have a high valuation. However, you have to look at it relative to peers, relative to the market, and understand what the opportunity here is, why it's currently trading at that valuation. Now myth number 2, and I see all bears talking about this, is that people don't need chargers, they'll charge their vehicles at home. Well, this one's a lot easier to address. Ultimately, not everyone lives in a property where they can charge their vehicle outside it. Many people don't have garages, many people live in apartments and condos, where those facilities don't exist on a personal level. If you do live in a flat or an apartment and you don't have the ability to have your own dedicated charging point, you'll always be reliant on the infrastructure that's available to everyone. So in those instances, there's always a need, there's always going to be a demand for charging points, and therefore a need for companies like Chargepoint to exist. Now my second argument against this point is that Chargepoint themselves do sell their own charging things to people who want to charge their EVs at home, so that's important. And the third way of dispelling this myth is thinking about how habits change when you have an electric vehicle. No longer is refueling your car a quick process where you pop to a petrol or gas station, fill it up and continue your journey. No, the process takes longer, and as a result habits change. Instead, people would charge their vehicles while they're going shopping, while they're eating a meal out at a restaurant, while they're doing another leisure activity, cinema, etc. In these instances, you do need the infrastructure that people like Chargepoint provide, and so there will always be that ongoing need for that still. And there's one point here that's so exciting that I haven't seen anyone really touch on, and I want to do more digging myself to understand what Chargepoint's response is to this. However, all I can tell you is it's really, really exciting, and it goes towards how the future of energy may work as we shift to a greener environment. And with that, the role that EVs play in that. So once I'm done on this, I will bring out that video that covers all this and explains why this is such an exciting opportunity from that aspect alone. So you definitely don't want to miss that one. Now the third myth that I'm reading a lot online is that switch out batteries are going to kill ChargePoint. Now again, for me, the argument against this is fairly simple. First of all, not all manufacturers are using switch out batteries. Secondly, not all those batteries are going to be conformed and the same across vehicles. Thirdly, the infrastructure behind that becomes a nightmare and becomes incredibly costly. And fourthly, ultimately, those batteries, once they're out of the car, still need to be charged. There's a market that exists there, and if that becomes an exciting opportunity and something that ChargePoint needs to respond to, strategically they can address those within their existing business model. So again, for me, this is a myth. If it does become a reality, ChargePoint will address that. Currently, the market's not large enough and it's not lucrative enough to make sense for ChargePoint to do that. So look, thank you so much for watching. As I've said, I do have a couple more really exciting videos on ChargePoint coming out. So if you're interested in those, please subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, please smash the like button. And as always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I find it so interesting hearing everyone's perspectives. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.